Is that better?
Yes,
Yes, girl.
much better.
Yes.
Husband who does work from home all time is like setting me up.
Okay, let me know when we're ready. Patrick?
Yep, we are live now.
Okay.
So they say.
I call to order the September 3rd, 2020 Board of Commissioners regular meeting. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Jake Smith,
Present.
Commissioner Steve Frisbee,
Present.
Commissioner Derek King,
Here.
Commissioner Tommy Miller,
Present.
Commissioner Gary Tompkins,
Present.
Commissioner Kathy Sue Betty,
Here.
Commissioner Rochelle Hatcher.
Present.
We have quorum.
After a moment of silence, Commissioner Hatcher will lead us in the pledge. Thank you.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberties and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have a motion to approve the September 3rd, 2020 Board of Commissioners regular session as presented?
So move, Miller.
Second, Betty.
Miller and Vetti. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner King,
We'll come back.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty.
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee.
Yes.
We'll go back to Commissioner King.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the Board of Commissioners August 20th, 2020 regular session as presented?
So move, Tompkins. Or Miller.
Tompkins and Miller, any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher.
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is citizens' time. During citizens' time, the board chair shall recognize any person wishing to address the board. A person recognized by the chair shall call in and state his or her name and community of residence. A person may address the board only once on the same matter during each period set aside for citizens' time on the agenda and only on matters that are relevant to county government. The chair shall control the length of time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes, and shall not allow negative personal comments. Please mute your TV or your computer when you're calling in, as background sound will generate feedback. Please note there's an approximately 30-second delay in the live meeting and the YouTube feed. Is there anyone who would like to address their commissioners? Patrick, about how big of a delay do we have tonight?
It's 30 seconds, I believe. Yep, 30
Okay.
seconds.
All right. Is there anyone that would like to address their commissioners? one last time, then we'll wait a minute. Is there anyone that would like to address their commissioners? All right, we'll move ahead. Any elected or appointed county officials would like to address the commission tonight? No one? All right. We'll have a presentation for MSU Extension and 4-H programming from Calhoun County 4-H Program Coordinator, Kathy Fisher. Take it away.
Good evening, everyone. Glad to be able to be here with you in this virtual setting. Thanks for giving me time to update you tonight on a little bit about what has been going on with 4-H. As most of you know, I'm sure, we have been doing virtual programming since April 3rd, and the variety of programming that has happened has been great. We've been engaging in quite a few different programs. The topic of chocolate, which you've heard me talk about many times, has proven to be, continued to be very popular even in a virtual setting. More specifically, we've delved into the science of chocolate. This virtual program has been offered for adults and youth. Not only do participants learn everything we can possibly teach them about chocolate, but they also learn new recipes and see demonstrations on making the yummy chocolate desserts that they get recipes for. Our council and many of our clubs have continued to meet in a virtual setting. They are wildly creative and are working together to come up with some new options for celebrating completed projects and award winners. I'm very grateful to all of the volunteers that are sticking with me during this time and continue to come up with creative ways to keep our program functioning. Have you ever realized how many kids today have never received mail in their actual mailbox? Well, that's one thing I hadn't really thought of until this time. And one of the things that I chose to do was create some activity kits that we mailed to kids so that they could do something that was away from a screen. These kits are a variety of topics. The two popular ones that have happened so far were one about nature, where they made bird feeders and created some things outside. And then there was a craft one revolving around painting and making sculptures. While the kids loved doing the activities, most of them searched their mailbox every day waiting for these boxes to arrive. So that's been a lot of fun. Those kits will continue to happen throughout the fall and winter months with different activities each month. Now I'd like to show you a short video that shares some of the accomplishments that were celebrated through our virtual showcase. Go ahead, Patrick.
Chair, I do, if I could, please.
Go ahead, Commissioner Tompkins.
Yeah. Thank you, Kathy, for the presentation. First and foremost, it's good to see that there are kids that are still actively involved. Just curious to know exactly approximately how many kids have participated in the virtual format that you've had, and then if you've actually seen an uptick, or has it been kind of a downtrend in terms of what you've seen?
So the virtual showcase by no means encompassed everybody. Were 27 participants from Calhoun County with 106 entries.
Okay.
So it didn't encompass everybody. I would say that there has been a downtick in participation just because of the virtual setting. We worked really, really hard to connect with some populations that have a harder time connecting virtually. There's been a lot of stuff. Marquetta Frost is working a lot in to get those kids connection options that don't have that readily available to them. So while not all of them were participating in that showcase, there are lots of other things that have been happening as well that we're working to connect everybody to.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Kathy. Appreciate your time.
Thanks.
All right. Consent agenda. We have 3 items on the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved, Vetty.
Support, King.
Motion, Vetting and King. Is there any discussion? Come on, computer. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Petty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries. Any special committee, workshop, or board reports?
If I may, Chair.
Go ahead, Commissioner Tompkins.
Thank you, Chair. First and foremost, I just want to touch base with just one. The Senior Millage Allocation Committee had their strategic planning session on this past Friday, August 28th. We reviewed our progress since the last strategic planning session, which happened actually in March of 2019. We were very pleased to see there was many areas in which we had targeted for previous year that have been accomplished. However, we did see some things we want to totally continue to increase upon and capture. So we're moving forward with those as well. We had a quick demographic report follow-up. I have to certainly put a shout out to Kate Turner and Helen Guzzo for putting together a wonderful demographic report, an overview of the seniors that we are currently serving and areas that we could certainly take advantage of in terms of accessing more people. And so that was much appreciated, and we certainly appreciate their demographic report. And then finally, the strategic team, the committee looked at what our priorities, obviously with COVID-19 that's went on, readdressing kind of where our priorities, our events and services. Many of you know that we hold a centenarian luncheon on an annual basis. Obviously with COVID-19 that was scrapped this year, and we're looking at maybe doing some more creative things with our centenarians in next year, so stay tuned to that. Also, we did hold off from canceling our senior fair. We're looking at potential opportunities to maybe have it either later in the year, next year, or potentially having it at a different venue so we can spread out. So one of the big things regarding that senior fair is it's such a large attraction for our seniors in Calhoun County. They really truly appreciate actually going to those to get services and many other free things, if you will. So and again, finally looking at our services and really what some of the areas that we're going to target in the coming years. So a very productive strategic planning session, as you know. So we're confident that we're moving forward for the next 10 years of senior services in Calhoun County. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah.
All right. See, now we'll move on. We have no unfinished business or old business. So I'll turn it over to County Administrator Controller Kelly Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. I'll start with just mentioning our countywide leadership team, department heads and elected officials met today. We are continuing our operations in accordance with basically what we've been doing since July 6th under the governor's phase 4 operational plan, I guess we call that. So as of now, the Justice Center is still locked and people are able to access services there by appointment only. County building and the Toller building are open. Individual offices are also, many of them requiring appointments only, which are going fairly well. From a county employee standpoint, we heard from our HR director, Kim Archambault. We've had, I think we're up to 7 employees test positive for COVID over the time span. A lot more have needed to enact our health emergency leave policy, which we put in place pretty early on under the authority that you all granted on March 5th. So in spite of that, things are going well. I do expect the current operational plan to continue for some time. We are experiencing in Calhoun County, I guess, a surge of COVID cases related to places of worship, related to a little bit to restaurants, and mainly just general gatherings, family gatherings, social events. And then with the governor's executive orders today, one of them really just extended the current situation we've been operating under as far as office protocol and workplace safety for our employees and for the public. We also continue to follow all of the financial funding that's available through the COVID-related funding. One of the things that happened on August 8th was President Trump signed an executive memorandum with several different components of relief for the public. One of them entailed a deferral of Social Security tax for employees that all employers were able to, if they wanted to, put in place as of September 1. Reviewed that and got a lot of advice through emails and other professional agencies that really advised us to not put that in place. It's basically just a deferral of those taxes through December, and then starting January 1, our employees would have to pay that back, essentially doubling their Social Security tax withholding for the first 4 months of next year. So we thought that's not in the best interest of us as an employer. It's a huge administrative burden, but more importantly, it's not in the best interest of our employees. So unless there's congressional action that changes the tax law to make that a true tax cut, we have opted out of that program. A couple other updates from me. Let's see, some board and committee updates. The MEDA, Marshall Area Economic Development Alliance Board, met on August 25th. We have a new CEO, Jim Durian, in place. And so he's basically catching up on what's already in motion from economic development, the downtown alley marketplace in Marshall, and then really looking for additional grant opportunities, knowing that revenues are specifically from hotel accommodation tax are reduced at this point. The Summit Point Board met on September 1st, and Commissioner Vetty is the chair of that. We had some good presentations, updates on strategic goals, which continue. And previously, we've reported that Summit Point has received some really large grants to help move forward on the effort to coordinate individuals' mental health and physical health. Summit Point is moving forward with a new location, and so we approved construction management contract from that, and then we're working on collective bargaining with the union employees at Summit Point. And then finally, yesterday I was asked to be a guest speaker at the Battle Creek AMBUCS meeting. AMBUCS is a service club in Battle Creek, and they actually are doing in-person meetings, socially distanced, of course. Our treasurer, Brian Wensauer, is a member, and he attended via Zoom. But basically, they asked me to give an update on how COVID-19 has impacted the county, what are our operations now, and what do things look like going forward. So we're sharing that PowerPoint presentation with the written report that will go out tonight. And any of you that are members of service clubs that are starting to meet and are curious about what the county is doing, feel free to share that. I would also be happy to attend those meetings, either virtual or in person if the right protocol is in place, and share similar information. So that concludes my report tonight, and then we can move on to new business. We have 6 items under new business tonight. And the first one, item 12B1, starts on page 51. And we're going to ask for approval of the Health Department's fiscal year 21 budget. So our health officer, Eric Pessel, is here tonight to present that. Hopefully he's been promoted as a panelist. Basically, just a reminder, the Health Department's budget starts October 1st. We do have a separate health board. Commissioner Frisbee is on that. They have also a budget committee similar to the Board of Commissioners, and did a lot of work over the past few months with the leadership of Megan Banning, our deputy controller. So happy to turn it over to Eric and just emphasize that I support, and I was part of the budget discussions, support the budget that they bring forward. And really, as you'll hear, this won't be a surprise, but there's going to be a lot of continued work by our health department staff related to COVID response and recovery. And as such, they've received significant funding to increase their capacity.
Thank you, Kelly. And good evening, everybody. I think everybody's had a chance now to at least be able to review the budget. Hopefully you've had a chance. I know Megan put together a really nice package with really good information on the specifics, and I'm not going to go into those unless you have questions. But I know that we worked really hard, and I really want to give a shout out to Megan and her staff, because for obvious reasons we've been pretty busy as a staff at the Public Health Department and over the past 5 months. and really didn't have a whole lot of time to focus our energies on doing this budget. And Megan and her team really picked up the pieces for us. And I can't say enough about the teamwork that was involved, and the just overall it was appreciated, and I want her to know that, and her team and Kelly. So we do appreciate that. We're pretty happy with this budget. I believe it does balance, and I guess I'll just open it up with any questions, if anybody has any questions.
Let's get a motion on the floor. And can I have a motion to approve the Calhoun County Public Health Department fiscal year 21 budget as submitted?
So
So
moved, Tompkins.
Betty?
Tompkins and Vetty. Any questions? No questions? All right. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Petty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins.
Yes.
You have 7 yes.
Motion carries. I would like to add my thanks to Megan and Kyler and the budget folks that helped me from the health department, and Sonia. And who's the other one?
Mary Jo.
Mary Jo Byrne. Yes. So a lot of good work and a lot of unknowns. So it's not an easy year to put a budget together with a lot of unknowns, but I think we're in good shape. So appreciate the support there. Thanks, Eric.
Yes,
you all.
thank you, Eric, for your leadership. I know it's been quite a long haul since March, so sometimes it feels like just yesterday, and then it really does feel like forever. So appreciate your leadership throughout this pandemic, and it will end at some point. Next week, you can go to the gym if you would like.
I hope so, Kelly.
Well stated.
All right.
He's going fishing.
Yeah, fishing is definitely still allowed. The next 2 items come from the sheriff's office. I don't see anyone in attendance tonight, but Sheriff Hinckley was on our department head meeting earlier today. And he has, as normal, submitted 2 items that relate to grants. So item 12B2 is the annual Burn Memorial Justice Assistance Grant. We call it Burn JAG. And this is actually a grant that comes through the fiduciary of the city of Battle Creek. Starts on page 90 of our PDF packets, and it's an allocated amount that is set by the state. It's federal funding. This year, the amount is $42,370, and the grant requires the city of Battle Creek and the sheriff's office to come to an agreement through a memo of understanding, which I typically sign after your approval, that allocates the amounts that the city and the county get. And what we've done for several years is basically split evenly and just give the city of Battle Creek a few thousand extra because they're serving as the grant fiduciary. So the sheriff's office is receiving $19,000 this year, and they're indicating that will help fund some portable radios and equipments for the patrol cars. So there's no matching required, and we ask for your support tonight.
Right. Can I have a motion to accept the annual Burn Memorial Justice Assistant Grant as presented?
So moved, Betty?
Support Hatcher.
Betty and Hatcher. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
He seems to have dropped off.
Yes.
Okay, there he is.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Petty.
Yes.
You have 7 yes.
Motion carries.
Next item 12B3 starts on page 111. This is also an annual grant application that has come before you for many, many years. The secondary road patrol grant application. This year, as noted in the cover memo, funding is continuing to decrease, and the allocation for the sheriff's office is $102,000. We assigned 2 deputy positions, sheriff's deputy positions, to this. It helps to just increase a little bit the amount that the sheriff is able to patrol the out-county areas outside of the other contracts. The cost of the 2 deputies is about $203,000. So now with the reduced grant amount, the grant covers roughly half, and the difference, the other $100,000 or so, needs to be built into next year's budget. Of course, these grant applications generally coincide with the state's fiscal year, which is why we typically see so many of them in September as they start on an October fiscal year. Again, it's money that, you know, is beneficial to the county, even though it doesn't cover the cost of 2 deputies. It still enhances the funding available for road patrol.
All right. Can I have a motion to accept the secondary road patrol grant application as presented?
So moved, Vetty.
Miller.
Betty and Miller, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Smith?
Yeah.
Commissioner Frisbee?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yeah.
That a yes?
Try one more time.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins?
Yes.
Commissioner Petty?
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher?
Yes, please.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries.
Item 12B4 starts on page 121. This item comes from the prosecutor's office, and our corporation counsel, Jim Dyer, was instrumental in also reviewing and entering this item. And I know Dave Gilbert is here with us tonight. This is a request to approve Investigator for the sexual assault program that Prosecutor Gilbert oversees and has been funded by the state for several years. We currently have Jerry Stonebreaker, and if you remember, when the agreements with the state were approved this past fall, there was the opportunity to have 2 investigators. And so the prosecutor is asking now to add a second one. His name is indicated here, Scott Nichols. And again, this program coincides with the state fiscal year. So the current program will end September 30. And there's indications, depending on the state's budget, that the funding could possibly end on September 30. So this is to reinforce the capacity of the prosecutor and the investigators and our special prosecutor, Michelle Richardson, to try to wrap up as much as they can of the outstanding cases. And with that, I would invite either Dave Gilbert and or Jim Dyer to make comments and or answer questions, sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Yes. Scott Nichols is a retired state police officer. He should fit in very well. The request at this point is just to finish up the remaining cases as soon as possible. We thought we'd have the rest of the year to do it, but because of COVID, it looks like they're probably going to be ending the contract or this program in October. So I believe bringing them now will help us clear out as many cases as we can before October, at which point they'll revert back to the prosecutor's office and will be responsible for using county funds to actually handle these cases.
Can I have a motion to approve the sexual assault investigator contract as presented?
So moved, Betty.
Support, King.
Betty and King, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Frisbee?
Yes.
Commissioner King?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
7 yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, next item 12B5 starts on page 129. This is a project that's been a long time in the works, since 2014. It's a request that you approve the Juanita Hydrology Project construction contract. This is coming from Jim Dyer Corporation Council. It does involve the county road department and it relates back to the Big Marsh Intercounty Drain Board and the agreement that the county reached with the city of Battle Creek and Emmett Township to make initially a really large drain project into a much smaller project to solve some drainage issues with Emmett Township. And this one, we're at the point finally where there's been a competitive process to choose the contractor along with CEI professional engineers, and Hunter Pro was chosen. The good news is the estimate is $100,000 less than what the county has in our budget to take care of that. And the reason that the county agreed to cover the cost of this project is that if it were to become a much larger drainage project under the authority of our Water Resources Commissioner, we would really be at the mercy of whatever was apportioned to the county to pay. And the original estimates were, I want to say 10 times this amount that may have come back to the county to pay. So we've been continuing to budget this amount for several years, and I'm really happy to see now that we're at the point where the construction will be done, I think yet this year. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jim Dyer to add anything or he can answer questions.
I think Kelly covered it quite well. The thing that I would add is that this is work that we're contractually obligated to undertake. So it's not that you have a particular option to not engage the work. The only thing that I think might lead you to some questions is whether the bid that we received is actually viable, given that there's a considerable disparity between the two bids. And we relied on CEI to review and question the bidding party to make certain that they understood the bid, that all elements were included, and that their plan for continuing for performing the work was actually viable. Because of the additional savings, we would also anticipate having having both CEI and individuals from our engineering office actually monitoring the project to make sure it's constructed as required. So unless there are any other questions.
Hey, this is Derek. I just wanted to point out that I believe Emmett Township is on the hook for part of this as well, right?
Of 10% of the entire project. That's
right. Okay.
Yeah, the city has already fulfilled their role, and yes, there is a contractual obligation for the township to pay a very small portion of it.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the Juanita Hydrology Project construction contract as presented?
So moved, King.
Support, Betty.
King and Betty, is there any discussion? I just want to give Commissioner King some credit here. He's bulldogged this for many years. It was him that really pushed this cost-saving measure, and it's really saving taxpayers just a ton of money. So we went from a $25 million project in the Big Marsh Drain down to $100,000. So I'm really proud of the work that he has done, and I appreciate it. So thank you. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee.
Yes,
You have 7 yes.
motion carries.
All right, the last item under new business tonight is 12B6. It starts on page 139. This is a request that the county approve a resolution granting full faith and credit regarding the Gang of Lakes Intercounty Drain bonds. So this comes from the Water Resources Commissioner's office. I don't see Fred in attendance tonight, but we do have from Bond Counsel Miller Canfield, Alan, and I'm sure I'm going to get his last name wrong, but it looks like Zuma to me. They prepared the resolution, and we've done this in the past where the Water Resources Commissioner needs to do financing on drain projects. They paid back from special assessments. In this case, the Gang of Lakes project, the intercounty project, is a little bit unique in that they actually reduced the scope of this one also considerably from a multi-million-dollar initial project scope to just replacing culverts. And so replacing culverts are typically the responsibility of the county through our road department. We own the culverts. And so in this case, almost all of the costs will be assessed to the county, to our road department. But this allows us to save a lot of money because these improvements and actually getting them permitted through the Water Resources Office instead of through the road department's normal process, which would be permitting them through under Act 51 through the state. This allows some, I would say, some reduction of red tape, and it allows for a reduction in cost. So these culverts would have needed to be replaced in the long run anyway. Doing it as I think there are 4 of them, doing it as a bundle right now and financing them at very low rates over 15 years is the best for the county and to solve the drainage issues. And they're in the northeastern counties, townships of Calhoun County. So it's a not to exceed bond amount of $1,350,000. And it just gets better interest rates and better response from investors to have the county pledge full faith and credit. And if you have any questions about that, again, we've got one here, if you could promote him from Miller Canfield.
Alan, would you like to say anything else?
Guess not.
He seems to be muted.
Alan, are you muted?
No, maybe not.
Connecting to audio, so hang on.
While we're waiting for him, that I will mention that we've had a lot of discussions and suggestions from our water resources commissioners in the past to more closely have the road department work with them when possible, when we can tie this to a drainage project to save money for the road department. And so I'm happy to see that in this case, it's actually working that way and will be beneficial to all of us.
All right, well, it looks like Alan's still struggling to connect to the audio. I'll put a motion on. Can I have a motion to approve the pledge of full faith and credit RE Gang of Lakes intercounty drain bonds as presented?
So moved, Tompkins.
Support Betty.
Tompkins and Betty. Is there any discussion? Alan, are you there now? Nope. All right. Any discussion? All right, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Sorry, yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yeah.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
with 7 yes.
Motion carries. All right. Citizens time. Our next item is citizens time. The same rules apply as during the first citizens time. Please limit your time to 3 minutes and no negative personal comments. Please mute your TV or computer when calling in, as the background sound will generate feedback. Please note there's an approximately 30-second delay between the live meeting and the YouTube feed. Is there anyone that would like to address the commission? Is there anybody in the queue? Patrick?
No, sir. No one with their hand up at least.
Okay. Is there anyone that would like to address their commissioners? Oh, wait a minute. Anyone that would like to address their commissioners? Still nobody, Patrick?
Yeah, there's no one.
Okay, we'll move on. Commissioner time.
Just a quick one, Chair, if I may.
You may.
Just want to thank you, Chair. Just want to take an opportunity to wish my colleagues, and all of those Calhoun County working families and folks out there to a very happy Labor Day weekend, and certainly a well-deserved rest on Monday for each and everybody. For those that are still working on Monday, we still certainly appreciate you and all the work that you folks are doing. But again, happy Labor Day to everybody as we enter the final summer holiday of the weekend of the year. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you. Any other commissioners? Commissioner Miller?
I just want to let everybody know that the school is in session. A lot of kids are going virtual, but there's still school buses out there. So keep your eye out in the morning and in the afternoons for these school buses.
And a big announcement today that high school football resumes potentially on September 17th. So that's a big thing for kids, and I think it's very positive. So.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? All right, we'll move along. Claims, can I have a motion to approve the Calhoun County claims payable for August 13th, 2020 through August 27th, 2020 in the amount of $5,878,434.18 as presented.
So
moved, Betty.
Hatcher
Support.
and
Mm-hmm.
Hatcher and Vetty. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Yes.
Jake, was that a yes? You were.
Oh, yes.
Thank
Pardon
you.
me.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
7 yes.
Motion carries. Are there any announcements? All right, seeing none, this meeting's adjourned.
Everyone be safe. Have a great evening.
You too.
Have a great weekend. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Long weekends, kids.
Yes.
Hey, Derek, can you give me a call?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.